Incredible interview here with On the Clock by Prospects Live. We have Casan Evans, right-handed pitcher out of St. Pius High School. Comes in at number 46 on our Prospects Live overall prep prospect list. Casan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm thankful to be on here with y'all and glad I got the chance to talk about some baseball today.
Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. The first question we always ask guests, a lot of people don't know who you are, so give a little bit of background on yourself, your journey through amateur baseball, some of the things you love to do outside of it, and just kind of how you've gotten to where you are today.
Yeah, for sure. So started playing baseball when I was really young. My dad got me into it. He played through college and was drafted by the Royals after he had attended Lubbock Christian University. Played with them for a couple of years, and I mean, ever since I was a kid, I just fell in love with the game and just kind of went about it that way. And he's been my coach, and I've also had other coaches that are like dads to me. So just grew up playing the game, grew up loving it, and then started taking off in middle school. I want to say is when I started seeing myself kind of above the other players that I was playing with, and I knew I really had something. So when I went on to high school level, I was able to make varsity as a freshman and compete at that level. And then that's when I really started getting looks by colleges, and it just took off from there. I mean, just from my performance on the field to performance off the field, just knowing what to do and when to do it, I think were the main things that really helped me. And then went to a couple of showcases and camps and things like that, started getting more college looks, and then finally ended up choosing LSU as the school I wanted to be at. So, and I'm very thankful for what I have and the support I have behind me. And I think it's just amazing that what these people will do for me.
I love that. The one thing you talked about is LSU committing there recently. We recently had Jay Johnson on, so probably just his personality, you can kind of see why someone would commit there. But what ultimately led you to choosing LSU?
It was mostly the coaches in the
Yeah.
community. So when I was looking at colleges, I had my top 5 that I took visits to, and the only 2 that really I wanted to play two-way. Two-way was a big thing for me. So the only 2 that really gave me the option were Tennessee and LSU, and they both took me through the process of what the two-way player goes through on a day-to-day basis, and they both showed me like how much work it was going to be to make this possible at the next level. And they both did a really good job. They had me follow around the players that they had doing it right at that moment. So that was a big thing. So kind of narrowed it down to those 2 schools towards the end, and then just getting to know the players that were going in with me in my class. Like Cade, I'd known Cade for a while, just playing against him when I was younger. And David Hogg, I started getting to know him better. Just knowing them and having comfort with the community and the support that the school has was really big for me. So I know I made the right decision on picking that school, and I'm excited to go there this summer.
I love it. Tyler, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so first thing I kind of wanted to ask was what you've done over the offseason to kind of change more or less your pitch mix, because I remember you did a showcase, I think it was at Globe Life back in like September, where you had more of a curveball, but then you threw an outing a couple days ago where it was more of a slider, according to what I saw on Twitter. So I'm kind of interested to see what you've done with the arsenal on that front.
Yeah, so at Globe Life, which was my like last event that I had went to, I had the curveball, changeup, and the four seam, and those were the main pitches throughout the summer. And then this off season, I was talking to my pitching coach. His name is Pat Burns, and he's our pitching coach at school, and been with him for 4 years now. But we were thinking of what we could do to make it better, and we thought of a slider, and we're like, okay, this could be good. We just have to figure out a way to throw it to where it doesn't hurt the arm. And then we also thought of a two seam, and the slider was a big thing for me because I already had the two seam a little bit, but not much. So we started working on the slider whenever I had started throwing again, because I usually take time off in the fall. So we started working on it, and then Friday, my first game was the first time I had thrown it in game, and it was working pretty well. So I'm sure we're going to stick with it throughout the season and see what it can do for us.
Perfect. And kind of like, is it more of like a sweeper or just like a gyro slider?
It's more of a sweeper. We were trying to get the hard break, maybe like mid 80s slider, but this is what came out and it's working. So we're just going to stick with it.
No, perfect. And I know you mentioned two-way because I think you remember you were a shortstop primarily as like a underclassman. So do you prefer pitching over shortstop, or is it kind of like a mutual balance between the two?
I would say it's mutual. I wouldn't say I prefer one over the other. I mean, I like hitting more than I do pitching. But that's just because I grew up doing it. Like, I didn't start pitching until I was like 11, 12 years old. So I've hit for my whole life, and I just think it's like the best thing you can do on the field. But pitching has taken off for me. So I'm going to have to make a choice later on whether I want to pitch or hit. Because it's hard to excel at one when you're trying to do both. So I already talked to Jay about this, and he was like, we're not going to pick for you. We're going to make you choose which one you want to do. And then when that time comes, you take off in that one.
Yeah, we asked Peyton Tolley this, who's a two-way guy at TCU. If you had 5 at-bats against yourself, who's winning? Is it the Casan Evans, the pitcher, or the hitter?
Right now, I'd say the pitcher, for sure.
Love it. So the next question that we have, so what are some of the passions that you have outside of baseball? Kind of what do you do for fun to get you away from the field and take your mind off the game?
Definitely hunting and fishing. Those are my two big ones. Do a lot more fishing than I do hunting. Just being close to the water, close to Galveston, I'm able to go down there a good amount and do fishing. But whenever hunting season's around, I try to get out there as much as possible. Just kind of picked it up over the past few years. I mean, kind of always been involved with it, just never like done it as much as I could. And over these past few years, it's like whenever I get the chance, that's what I want to go do.
Have you scouted out any hunting and fishing places in Louisiana yet?
I haven't. I've been fishing in Louisiana. I mean, a couple of years ago, but it was down south. I'd say it's about 8 or 9 hours from Houston. So it was a haul, but it was a fun trip.
I love it. So you talked a little bit about some of the changes that you made to your pitch mix that you're looking to implement this season. But what are some of your like overarching and bigger goals for the 2024 season?
State championship. That's the biggest goal that we have set at school, and that's what we're trying to achieve. I mean, it's been our goal ever since I've been at St. Pius. So we've yet to reach it, and hopefully with the team we have this year, I think we have a good chance of getting there. Minor setbacks with a few injuries, but they should be back before we get to playoffs. So it should be a run this year. Love it.
What's the furthest you guys have gotten so far?
The second round. In our playoffs, it's only 4 rounds because there's so little schools and private schools that are in our district.
Love it. Yeah, Tyler, I'll turn it over to you if you have any questions.
Yeah, I was honestly kind of curious of how Texas kind of works their divisions and leagues and whatnot, because I think North Carolina, where I'm from, it's really just like 4 classes throughout the high school levels. I think you guys have 6 or 7 or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah, it's 6 or 7. I know 6 for sure. Could be 7, but once you get to the big public schools, you're going 7 rounds and until the state championship, and they're playing through June. So the kids that are like Cade, if they make it to state, he'll play through June, and then the draft will be in July. So it's a lot for them.
When's the season start again for you all? Has it already started?
We just started, yeah.
Yeah. See, here I'm in Maryland, but they don't even start till the beginning of March because it's so cold.
Yeah, we start early. We were supposed to have our first scrimmage at the end of January, but because of the weather, we weren't able to get it in. So we played our first game on Friday. So we're getting the season rolling now.
Love it. So I guess the one of the final questions we always ask is kind of for you as your career has matured and you've kind of gotten to where you are now. When did it kind of become a realization for you that like getting drafted would be a possibility? When did you kind of start realizing that, I have a chance to either go play D1 baseball or get drafted by an MLB team?
Well, when I was a freshman for D1 baseball, that's when the schools, I started talking to the schools. So that dream started to become a reality real quick. just pretty much on the mound at that point. And then the bat showed up later, so they were like, we'll give you the chance to do two-way. So that was for the D1 school. So, but for the MLB, I would say last year really is when I kind of realized that I had a chance to be drafted. And just thinking about it's kind of crazy because 18 years old going to the draft, like living by yourself is kind of different. Like not many people get to do it, but it's one of the dreams. So, I mean, if I get the chance, I would for sure go if everything's lined up and right, and just live out my dream of playing Major League Baseball.
Love it. Tyler, do you have any last questions before we wrap up?
I don't. Do you want to go ahead and do on the clock segment here?
Yeah, we can do a little bit of on clock. So we kind of give you a couple rapid fire questions here. Who do you want to win the Super Bowl tonight?
I'll go with the 49ers.
Yeah, love it. Who's your NFL team? That's the second question.
Texans.
Texans.
I'm a Houston boy.
Love it. Then the last one, what is the go-to food spot in Houston for you?
Oh, I'd say Chipotle for me. I'm a big Chipotle fan. Love going there. I probably go there twice a week.
My buddy coaches high school baseball, and he does like Chipotle sponsorships for the high school baseball team. And he's like, I do it because I love Chipotle, and that's the only reason.
I do need an opinion on Raising Cane's, though. I've never had it, and I'm flying to Dallas in a couple weeks, so I want to try it. But do you have any thoughts on that?
You for sure have to try it. It is a good spot, and everyone's different. So like Houston's different than Dallas. Everything's the same, but it's just like portion sizes is weird. It's like Houston has like small cups of sauce. Dallas has bigger ones, but you for sure need to try it. I think that's one of my favorite like chicken fast food restaurants.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's going out there in February. We might be out there for the MLB draft, so we'll have to hit up Raising Cane's if we get out to Dallas.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good for sure.
Love it. Casan, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us on the Clock. We're wishing you nothing but the success the rest of your season going into the draft as you kind of advance your career on to LSU or the draft or whatever you decide to do. So thank you again for taking the time to join us. Wishing you the best.
Of course. Thank y'all for having me.